Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. New ride today, kind of a race, Tour of Watopia. I'm going to race it. Had a day off yesterday, so I need some intensity. So we'll give it a crack at the front, see how we get on. If you haven't already seen on my channel, I did the long ride of this on Sunday, the A ride. I actually did it 3 times. Raced it once. That was the second, and there's highlights of that on another video that I'll link at the end of this. At the end of this one, see, I picked up a podium and that. So we'll see what we can do today. I'm doing the B because in stage 2 of the Tour of Watopia, the B is the new badge, the new route. So as well as the double XP for the tour, there'll be XP for the badge, and obviously the badge itself, which is currently an event-only badge. So get this one done. Yeah, give it a bit of a push because I do need that intensity back in my legs after a day off. It's a big weekend of cycling, a lot of volume. Yeah, day off yesterday, so feeling fresh, hopefully. I'm sure this will be a sprint finish. It's flat. I looked at the entries. There's only a couple of A+ guys who could put a real dig in, and I don't think 2 of them on their own are going to probably stretch away. So I'd imagine it will be a bunch sprint finish, with all the luck that goes with that. See if we can pick up an aero. The double aero that you get in the Tour of Watopia this year is going to be super important. Finishing in the desert, it was key to that podium on Sunday. It'll be key again today. If I'm going to make the front couple of places at least. So let's see. Warming up for now. Managed to get on with 10-11 minutes to spare, so a little bit of a warm-up in, but mostly, yeah, I'll leave it there and I'll join you on voiceover and maybe talk to you a little bit during some of the ride as well. But for now I'm going to carry on my warm-up, and I'll talk to you around the time the flag drops. In the meantime, please like and subscribe. Trying to grow this channel a bit now that I've got my new team, get a bit of publicity for Wahoo and grow this channel for myself as well. So yeah, if you could like and subscribe, you'll get more of this sort of content. I don't know about you, I certainly enjoy watching some of the other guys on YouTube and see how their journey goes on. Hopefully you'll enjoy mine. So yeah, catch you a bit more in a minute. Okay, here we go. Oh, very gentle.
Yeah, so the start here was not too bad. I'd expected the usual rush out of the start, especially as a mass participation event like this. I'd expected all sorts of different speeds, but actually got away with largely a threshold and tempo effort out at the start here. So that was a nice surprise, and we formed a group towards the front. That's 600. I think we ended up with close to 700 people once the late joiners who are flying in at the moment came through. Big snake, but with a start like this, it took a while for any sort of group to go away. So yeah, nice easy start. Slightly hilarious moment in a second where a guy, I think a late joiner, I initially thought was a bot, but actually looking at the data, as you'll see, it looks like just very, very poor data, and actually they don't stay out front for very long, and they come back, and I don't think we saw them again for the rest of the race.
Anyone think that's a bot out front with that cadence? What the hell?
So we're going through the sprint for the first time here, about to go under our first banner. As I mentioned in the introduction, chasing an aero would become the theme for all the banners going around this flat course. Unfortunately, I got nothing but XP here, so yeah, had to wait and see what we'd get from the next ones.
XP, lovely. That'll be useful in the sprint finish.
So at this point we're coming up to the only real climb, or certainly the only climb in the first half of this race. It's just the small part of the KOM out of Titans, or into Titans Grove, as you come out of the desert. It isn't a big hill by any means. It isn't going to do damage to anyone who is particularly strong, but I figured if there are a few bigger guys, perhaps with big sprints, but not able to climb at all, maybe we could shake them off here. It was clearly not going to be pushed by anyone else, so I decided, as one of the stronger guys in the field, that I would lead it out here. I didn't want to go too hard. I didn't want to go over 400 watts, so I tried to settle in at a sort of high VO2 max, but sub fully sort of anaerobic level, sitting around there. That's quite comfortable. My heart rate only went up to threshold because it was a short effort, and it sort of did the job. It certainly strung the field out. I'm sure we did lose some people off the back for a second as we started the descent, and maybe even a minute or two as I started the descent. I thought actually it had worked. If you watch here, you see a split quite a long way up the snake there, and that grows briefly as we go downhill. And I really hoped actually that the wind resistance, air resistance that the front of the second part of that snake would now be experiencing would hold them back. It wouldn't work out that way in the long run. Perhaps people dropping between the two, just giving them just enough aero. But really here, that we've dealt with most of the downhill where things are going quickly, and we're coming into sort of -2, -1 territory, and it looks like we're away. So for a while here, I thought, yeah, we've done this, we've split that, and now we're just going with a smaller group to the finish. But yeah, further along here, they hang on well. We work together, a few of us at the front, but most of our blob just wants to sit on. As I realise that, I let the blob catch, but then I go again, pushing to drag us away. Really started to believe here that this was done. But yeah, it would turn out less so. We've lost someone into the gap there. I think maybe that gave the group behind a bit of impetus. But still, at this point, it still looks like we're away. But it doesn't last. Sadly, they most of those guys do come back on, as you'll see in a second. But it was worth a dig, see if we could take just a few of us for a reduced bunch sprint, and we'd have to wait until a later climb to reduce the bunch again. Okay, so second banner, second opportunity for an aero. We'll come under here, you'll see that I pick up the drafting van instead. And actually this gave me a real decision to make, because that isn't too terrible in a sprint finish. It's not as good as the aero, but if I can draft somebody, it would be quite useful. I had to decide, do I want that, or do I want to roll the dice and see if I can get an aero later on? So yeah, pick that up, and now I've got a decision to make. Okay, so having thought about what to do with this drafting van, I decide that I don't want to take that to the finish. I thought about it and I thought, well, a drafting van would be good to maybe pick up a podium, be a good opportunity to sit on somebody, not necessarily able to create breakaway speed with it, and therefore, yeah, pick up a podium. But I thought, well, this is a tour of Watopia. It's the B ride that I'm doing to pick up the badge. Do I want a podium? Really, it's all or nothing in this race for me. I'm either going for the win, or I'm not too bothered. So I decide, yeah, let's just waste this drafting boost here. We're going over these rolling flats, rolling hills. It's not a bad place just to sit in, having done a bit of an effort earlier to split the pack, which failed. Get a bit of recovery, get back into zone 2 sort of heart rate. So yeah, that's gone, and we will have to continue the search for an aero later in the ride. Okay, so we went under another banner while we were in fast forward there. You'd have seen, if you saw it, the fact we picked up this featherweight. There is a final climb here. There's an opportunity to split the pack, and featherweights aren't particularly useful in a sprint, so I decided very quickly I was going to burn that here. It did the job. Me and a couple of others worked on the front again to drag people away and reduce that bunch down for a sprint with whoever was left. It's not a sort of hill that's going to get rid of everybody. Certainly not the sort of hill that's probably going to get rid of the people I'm going to be sprinting against anyway. But it always feels better to take fewer people to the line, fewer people to get lucky with their tactics, fewer people to just use brute power regardless of weight against me. So yeah, good opportunity, and we got the group down to about 4%, I think, of the overall field. So, let's see how we go on. There was an opportunity here to do something slightly different. I hadn't got an aero. I didn't think I was going to go under any more banners. Don't know this route. It is a new route, and I hadn't really looked it up in advance. There's an opportunity here because we merged back in with the back markers of the field, having gone off and done a loop. And this was going to create an opportunity for a bit more drafting if there were enough back markers. As I knew I was one of the stronger guys in the group, I thought, well, maybe let's not take this to a sprint finish. Let's work together on the front and maybe just a very small group of us go away. It starts to work, but in the end, the impetus goes out. There is actually one more sprint up towards the end here, with a banner, therefore, and an opportunity to pick up a power-up. So whether that was why the impetus went out or not, I'm not too sure. But there weren't enough people really working on the front. So in the end, this settled back down, and despite the fact we overtook back markers for a while, it never went again in the same sort of way. So here we are at that final banner, final opportunity to pick up that aero that I'd been looking for the entire ride, spinning away. What would I get? XP. Excellent. That really was the last banner. I didn't know it at the time. I held out some hope maybe there was another one. There wasn't. So I will skip forward to the sprint finish and we'll see how we go without an aero. Final kilometre, final 20 or so in this bunch, all travelling fairly comfortably through the first part of the desert. You see there's been a lot of zone 2, little bits of tempo and threshold briefly, but mostly sitting quite comfortable here, waiting for the sprint. 600 metres to go here. I know the final sprint marker is coming up and we pass it here. This is about 30 seconds to go. So I decide to go. I put down as much power as I can. I'm in a sprinting gear. This was actually a really good sprint as far as pure performance is concerned. I held 800 watts for a very long time. Never hit high peak, but as a result I was able to hold the entire 30 seconds, mostly above 700. I averaged well over 700. I think I actually averaged 720. But it wasn't enough. The guys there all had power-ups. They came through first with drafting off the back of me, and then with aero power-ups over the top. I ended up 4th, as you'll see here. You can see I actually put down the most power by quite some way. Both 15-second and 30-second power to weight was the highest. I haven't got it here, but I also know that those were in absolute terms the highest as well, even though I was one of the lighter guys. That was the most absolute power, as well as by far the most power to weight. So it was a good sprint, so much so that if you look here, you'll see the red numbers on the 30 and 15 seconds highlighting it was my best sprint ever on Zwift Power. And it was better than yesterday in power terms by a long way. But if you look here at my results on the Zwift screen, you'll see that a day ago I did this in 27 seconds and just now in 31. So with considerably more power, about 30% more power, I was 10% slower in the sprint. And that is all due to aero, power up, a little bit that I led the sprint out. Maybe I should have sat behind them. Maybe I should have used their draft, as I didn't have a power up. The thing is, I know that I am best at a long sprint, so I like to lead out a long sprint. It suits me. My absolute power isn't that high, but my 30-second power is good. Tactics, who knows? I was never going to win it without power up. There wasn't a lot of strong guys in that field, but there are enough. There are enough to decide who the winner would be. So yeah, just goes to show the power of a power up. Anyone who thinks they are unnecessary, you only need to look at this. So I'll leave it there. If you could like and subscribe, that would be wonderful. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.